Hello and welcome to this preview of Music Theatre of Madison's Beyond the Ingenue Trailblazers. We are so thrilled you could join us. My name is Kelsey Ann Johnson. I'm the Outreach Director for MTM. At Music Theatre of Madison, we focus on what's next in musical theater through new and lesser-known works. We are a professional theater company celebrating our 15th anniversary next year. This is actually our second Beyond the Ingenue project. 2 years ago, we took existing musical theater pieces and crafted them into a review of songs for women that weren't about falling in love. There's nothing wrong with falling in love, of course, and we all enjoy a good love tune, but songs about other things women face are few and far between in musical theater. In 2018's review, we dealt with body image, motherhood, abuse, the workplace, aging, and trying to meet all the expectations that are placed on our shoulders. That concert toured to libraries, schools, senior centers, and a homeless shelter in Dane County, and we had 2 sold-out performances at the Brink Lounge. This year, we wanted to take the same concept, but look to figures from history and from today, women that paved or continue to create paths to greatness. We also decided this year to make all of the pieces original. So each actor got paired with a Wisconsin composer and chose the person they'd like to write about. We ended up with stories about identity, ambition, fears, celebration, and fighting against oppression. The women portrayed range from well-known figures like Michelle Obama to unknowns like Lavinia Dock. We've got actors, a suffragette, a pilot, a princess, a publisher, a climate activist, a Supreme Court justice, and more. There are so many stories for musicals to tell, and this is just the beginning. Even though we couldn't come to your library this fall, we wanted to make sure you got a taste of what this show has to offer. Tonight, you'll hear 4 of these songs and be able to ask questions of the performers and the creators after and during the presentation. The video includes information about each person before their song is performed, and you can also download our audience guide at our website, ntmadison.com. The full concert will be webcast on November 20th, and that will be a pay-what-you-can online presentation, where you'll be able to enjoy all 11 stories. It's a great way to support what's next and see the way musicals can tell complex women's stories. Now take a look to the right of your screen. You'll see a comment box. Please feel free to give us some virtual applause if you are moved to do so during the performances. Go ahead and let us know what your thoughts and questions are, and we'll loop back to that during our post-show discussion, which we really hope you'll stick around for. So before we dive in, thank you very much to our sponsors, the Beyond the Page Foundation, for providing funding to our wonderful participating libraries for this event tonight, as well as the Madison Arts Commission, Wisconsin Arts Board, and Dane Arts. And now, please enjoy this preview of Beyond the Ingenue, Trailblazers.
Greta Thunberg is a Swedish environmental activist who has gained international recognition for promoting the view that humanity is facing an existential crisis arising from climate change. She was born in 2003 in Stockholm, Sweden. She says she first heard about climate change in 2011 when she was 8 years old and could not understand why so little was being done about it. The situation made her depressed. Eventually, she was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and selective mutism. Thunberg's activism started after convincing her parents to adopt several lifestyle choices to reduce their own carbon footprint. In August 2018, at age 15, she started spending her school days outside the Swedish parliament to call for stronger action on climate change by holding up a sign reading, "School Strike for Climate." Soon, other students engaged in similar protests in their own communities. After Thunberg addressed the 2018 United Nations Climate Change Conference, student strikes took place every week somewhere in the world. To avoid flying, Thunberg sailed to America, where she attended the 2019 UN Climate Action Summit. Her speech there, in which she exclaimed, "How dare you?" was widely taken up by the press and incorporated into music. Her sudden rise to world fame has made her a stunning young leader. Her influence on the world stage has been described by The Guardian and other newspapers as the Greta effect. She has received numerous honors and was Time's 2019 Person of the Year. She's also gotten 2 consecutive nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize. Her activism continues on a daily basis as she fights to build a better world for the next generation.
Is it senseless to be sitting here in my lonely little protest while the temperature keeps rising, so I need to do something? Yes, I know it's Friday morning, and my parents told me not to, but I'm done with all my homework, so I'm going on a school strike. Here I sit in front of Parliament, and I hold my little sign, while I hold out for a sign that anybody's listening. Every 6 or 7 hours, I receive a patronizer who'll pass me by and give a smile, but not a passing thought. Day to day when I'm in school, I am invisible. I never speak unless I have to, but I have to. I need to, because I have a voice. Just one, but it's one voice. And if leaders do not seem to want to lead, I have made the choice to speak up for myself. After weeks of going solo, I look around and I have found I'm not alone. A thunderstorm can often take you by surprise, but if your eyes are open, you can see the early signs. And though I can't say how we're going to finish what we've started, at least we now have started. The skies are looking grim, but over there a cloud has parted, so we march onward. We're marching onward, because I made a choice, stood up and made some noise. What started as a rustle became a riot. And so I'll use all my voice. They've left me with no choice, because if we don't choose to speak up for ourselves, no one else will. Thank you, Parliament, for having us, though we shouldn't have to be here. So if you could do your homework, we could get back to ours.
Princess Ka'iulani of Hawaii was the last heir apparent to the throne of the Hawaiian Kingdom. Born in 1875 to Hawaiian Princess Miriam Likelike and Scottish businessman Archibald Scott Cleghorn, she was originally the 4th in line to assume the throne of Hawaii, then an independent nation. She became first in line after the death of her mother. At age 13, she was sent to Europe to complete her education. She had not yet reached her 18th birthday when the 1893 overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom altered her life. Ka'iulani visited the United States to urge the kingdom's restoration. She made speeches and public appearances denouncing the overthrow of her government and the injustice toward her people. While in Washington, D.C., she paid an informal visit to President Grover Cleveland, but her efforts were in vain. The situation put both Ka'iulani and her father in dire financial straits. The islands were handed over to the United States in 1898, and Ka'iulani died in 1899 at the age of 24. Though her life ended tragically, Ka'ulani was beloved by artists, authors, and Hawaiian citizens. A statue of her currently stands in Waikiki, and an annual hula festival is held in her honor in October each year. In March 2017, Hawaii Magazine ranked her on a list of the most influential women in Hawaiian history. The poet Robert Louis Stevenson was especially inspired by her spirit, writing, "Forth from her land to mine she goes, the island maid, the island rose, light of heart and bright of face, the daughter of a double race. But our Scots islands far away shall glitter with unwonted day, and cast for once their tempest by, to smile in Ka'ulani's eye."
Hold on, Hawaii. Don't give up hope. I can hear you crying in my heart. My tears bring me back to protect you. Haven't lost all the strength I belong to. Hold on, Hawaii, till we meet again. I may be young, but not naive. It doesn't take a statesman to tell me we've been deceived. I am afraid, my sorrow worse. I fear what they've set in motion I cannot reverse. These howling men, they have no claim. No more than halakaiki to this land. They speak for those like them. They want what's ours. They disappear what they do not understand. And I can barely fit this crown. What do I do? What can I do? Tell me, sirs, can we discuss? How are we the savages while you are the ones robbing us? You want control, your stock increase. I'll never grasp what some men take at the expense of peace. And I can barely fit this crown. What do I do? What can I do? Me, a half-breed heathen princess. They are the snakes, and we the mice. The things I've learned here, safe and sheltered. My diplomacy with white kings came with a price, but I have to try, so I'll play their game. How can a country proud of freedom deny ours the same? So I will go to the Americans, pretend I'm not afraid. I will show them more grace than their wanton sons relayed, and maybe then they will see the mistake of their demands. I am Ali Ka'ulani, the last monarch of our land.
Lavinia Dock was a nurse, feminist, author, pioneer in nursing education, and social activist. She was born in 1858 as one of 6 children. She and her siblings were financially independent due to land their parents inherited, which allowed her greater choice in her career path, and Dock decided to become a nurse. In 1890, Dock authored the first nurse's drug manual, Materia Medica for Nurses. It became a standard nursing school text and sold over 100,000 copies. After years of working in hospitals, she moved to the Henry Street settlement on the Lower East Side of Manhattan and worked as a visiting nurse for 20 years. She worked with poor immigrant laborers, providing preventative care and health education, which led her to develop a sense of strong sympathy with oppressed classes. Dock moved to Washington, D.C. in 1917 and joined the Advisory Council of the National Women's Party. She campaigned for women's suffrage by leading several protests, including pickets at the White House. In 1917, in an issue of The Suffragist, she coined the phrase, "The young are at the gates," which became a rallying cry on banners during picketing. She was arrested several times after militant demonstrations. Her participation in these protests resulted in the 1920 passage of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which granted women the right to vote. Her public health and gender equality work intersected in her support for the treatment of venereal diseases and her emphasis on widespread access to information about birth control. Also linked with her promotion of gender equality, Dock campaigned for legislation to allow nurses, rather than physicians, to control the nursing profession. Close with her sisters throughout her life, Dock retired in 1922 and died in 1956. The American Association for the History of Nursing has an award in Dock's name, and in 1976 she was inducted into the American Nursing Association's Hall of Fame. Her life and work remarkably reflect the world of 2020, and her brilliant mind and tireless advocacy continue to inspire.
If anyone says to me, "Why the picketing for suffrage?" I should say in reply, "Why the fearless spirit of youth? Clear-eyed and rebellious, critical, intelligent, the young keep the world from hardening or conforming to one view. The old stiff minds must give way, the old selfish minds must go. The young are at the gates, the young are at the gates. The young are at the gates. I can see you, I can hear you, I can feel you, used to be you, yes. The young are at the gates. I implore you, please consider how your actions and inactions shape the future. The young are at the gates. The young are at the gates. When I was young, I came to be quite skilled at the piano. I was surprised at the praise it drew from men whom I admired. Imagine my delight when my dear teacher told my father, "Lavinia plays with beauty and ease. A pleasing tone she coaxes from the keys. It's clear to me she could be remarkable, a remarkable wife." I was mortified, alarmed. In a flash I saw my freedom gone, and I vowed to myself, I never will. Casting off prescriptions of a few old men, I took myself to nursing school. Throngs of women dared to join this bright new field, and in return we received all the tools we'd need to do important things. Tools we'd need to do important things. Since I was living independently, I chose to go where I'd be useful. Never in one place I rushed to picket for the vote quickly as I rush to treat an outbreak of yellow fever. Many wounds need healing. I'll be ever singing. Nurses have no enemies. Don't ignore one human's pleas. Working down on Henry Street, it brought me to the heart of things. Living holds no guarantees. One born rich, one poverty. Learn to give unselfishly and lessen life's disparities. Search for those in greatest need, then share your care with expertise. Cure society's disease. We must have equality. The young are at the gates. I can see you, I can hear you, I can feel you, used to be you, yes. The young are at the gates. Truth be told, it feels strange to be up here before you all, telling you what I've done and what I advise, since I do not ask you to remember me. My name is unimportant. Remembering but one person's name would be far too local. In each of you, I sense the very same irrepressible energy and spirit that fueled me when I was in my youth. So do not remember me, but instead remember this. The way you choose to use your energy has the potential to move us all forward, beyond caste, beyond conformity, beyond the stupidest of all stupid things, injustice. Give your care equally to all. All are equally deserving. And each of you are remarkable on your own. You are here at the gates. Now march through them.
Flies solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She also wrote best-selling books about her flying experiences and was part of the formation of the 99s, an organization for female pilots. Earhart became passionate about aviation during her youth in Atchison, Kansas, and began flying planes in her 20s. In 1928, Earhart became a celebrity as the first female passenger to cross the Atlantic by airplane. In 1932, she was the first woman to make a non-stop solo transatlantic flight. She was also a member of the National Woman's Party and an early supporter of the Equal Rights Amendment. During an attempt to make a circumnavigational flight of the globe in 1937, Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan disappeared over the Central Pacific Ocean near Howland Island. Many theories exist about her disappearance, including that the plane crashed, that they were captured by Japanese forces, or that Earhart and Noonan assumed other identities. No definitive reason for the disappearance has ever been established, and no traces of them were ever found. Earhart's accomplishments in aviation inspired a generation of female aviators, including the more than 1,000 women pilots of the Women Air Force Service Pilots. These women ferried military aircraft, towed gliders, flew target practice aircraft, and served as transport pilots during World War II. Amelia has long been an inspiration for women who wanted to make their way in a man's world.
Who would have thought when I first saw a plane I would be here to seize the day? See girls want adventure after all. I'm gonna to change history and prove them all wrong. I got a call to touch the sky. How dare they say I was one to fly? I was the first woman to go over the ocean, just writing down details while men took control. Watch out, world, I'm the pilot. I wanna fly, take off from the ground. I will soar through the clouds, let the wind chase my wings. I wanna be more than just baggage. I'll cross the Atlantic. I wanna fly, fly. Can't stop me now, I have momentum. No borders, just horizons, only freedom. Dreams don't know boundaries and neither do I. Now it's time for me to take flight. Watch out, world, I'm the pilot. I wanna fly, take off from the ground. I will soar through the clouds, let the wind chase my wings. I wanna be more than just baggage. I'll cross the Atlantic. I wanna fly, fly. One footstep in front of the other until they reflect on the water. And I can't be grounded until I fly high in the sky. They say Icarus was foolish, but dare me, I'll touch the sun. No woman has done it, yet I'll be the one. I'm gonna fly, take off from the ground. I will soar through the clouds, let the wind chase my wings. I wanna be more than just baggage. I'll cross the Atlantic. I'm gonna fly, fly, till I can't see the ground. I will soar through the clouds, let the wind chase my wings. I'm gonna be more than just baggage. I'll cross the Atlantic. I'm gonna fly, fly. I'm gonna fly high. I'm gonna fly.
Thank you so much to everyone who attended this preview of Beyond the Ingenue Trailblazers. Now I'd like to shout out our amazing participating libraries: Verona, McFarland, Black Earth, Middleton, Madison, Central. Thank you so much for partnering with us for this very exciting program. And thanks to all of you for your very supportive and thoughtful discussion in the comment section to the right. Feel free to add in any thoughts you have, any questions you want answered, because Megan Randolph, our executive director, is about to kick off our talk back. So be sure to stick around.
Hi, hello everyone. If we can get all of our performers and our two composers that are here to come back, and a little round of applause, virtual round of applause for them, for this incredible work. And all the original songs and wonderful performances. Excuse me. So I just want to say again, like Kelsey said, thank you very much for being here with us tonight. And so this is a preview of a full filmed production that we're going to do. So it will be filmed in a secure location, and it'll be professionally filmed. And so you'll get better sound quality, and you'll get an even better look at our ladies. And there are also 7 more where these came from. There are 7 more songs in that were written by Wisconsin-based composers, and performed by Madison-based actors. And it's just going to be really exciting and a really beautiful tribute to the strength of the human spirit, and especially of female-identified character people throughout history. So, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I want to open up this for questions or comments. If there's a story you want to know more about, or a question you have for one of the performers or the composers. In the meantime, I will, why don't we introduce ourselves, since we got a little bit of a delay on this. So Elaine, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Elaine Juden. I played Amelia Earhart.
Awesome. And Kai?
Hi, I'm Kai, and I played Princess Ka'iulani.
And Gracie?
I'm Gracie, and I played Greta Thunberg.
Fabulous. And we know Kelsey.
Hi.
Yeah.
My song was about Lavinia Dock.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. She's not a super well-known figure from history, but she should be. And Allison, you want to say hi?
Hi, I was one of the composers for Fly High about Amelia Earhart.
Yes. And Lily?
And I was the other composer for Fly High, the song about Amelia Earhart.
Are you in your car?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No, that's dedication. I love it. I love it. That's this day and age. So, yeah, please feel free if you have any thoughts, pop them in the chat box to the right of your screen. In the meantime, I'll just talk a little bit about what we were doing here. So as Kelsey said, Beyond the Ingenue started a couple of years ago, and we did a review about just women's issues. And they were songs that were pre-written from musicals already. And it was really hard to find things that weren't about falling in love. And so we did a review of songs about that. It was very successful, and we were able to travel in person to libraries. And the whole point is that there are more stories that musicals can tell. And as we look to the future, we need to look at more emerging composers, absolutely BIPOC composers and composers. There are so many opportunities to tell stories that we don't hear in musicals, and yet musicals are totally capable of telling those stories. So we have a question. Kai, what was the letter that you were holding on to during your song?
Thanks for that question. It was the telegram that Princess Ka'iulani received telling her that the Hawaiian monarchy had been deposed, and just pretty much just that. Telegram, monarchy deposed, queen is in trouble. Tell the princess is what it said. So that's what I was reading prior to singing.
Yeah, and such a key moment in her life, just that she's only 17 or 18, not even 18 yet. And all of a sudden this huge burden is placed on her shoulders. So that's a moment that calls out for a song. Absolutely. We have another question for, I guess, a few people. What other women were you considering prior to landing on your subjects? So Kelsey, I know you and Jennifer were looking at a lot of suffragettes, right?
Sure, yes. My friend and writing partner and composer on this project, Jennifer Hedstrom, who is also writing the new musical 10 Days in a Madhouse, produced by Music Theatre of Madison, an amazing talent. We entertained the idea of Susan B. Anthony. Her very important figure in American history and certainly American women's history. There's been a lot of writing about her. I would say she's a household name. And then we were celebrating the centennial anniversary of the 19th Amendment. And so I was looking up what suggestions they had to celebrate that, since I work in long-term care in my day job, and I have a couple residents who are older than their right to vote. And so I really wanted to celebrate that and get their perspective. I was looking on the Centennial Celebration website, and I saw a sweatshirt, and it said, "The young are at the gates." And I said, I have no idea what that's referencing. Like, I probably should. And then I Googled it, and I found an article written by a Lavinia Dock titled "The Young Are at the Gates." And, it starts off exactly how we started off the song. She was, as some biographers say, to summarize her life would be an insult, because there's far too many accomplishments. She was truly selfless. She does not want us to remember her name. She doesn't want to be a celebrity. And so we really kept that in mind when we were writing the song. Our goal would be to actually amplify her message. So she doesn't necessarily want you to remember her name. She wants you to remember that you have power, and that even when people tell you your life should go one way, it's actually going to be much more rewarding if you follow your passions and serve others. And that truly brought her joy for almost 90 years. So very happy to learn about her. Many worthy historical figures to write about. I'm sure we all considered many, but I was really interested in getting to know someone that's had a direct impact on my life who I've never heard of. So that's why we chose her, because of a sweatshirt and because of the 100th anniversary of our right to vote.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know that, but I remember you also sending me an email about wanting to tell the story of a suffragette, because there are a lot of suffragettes, but the right to vote did not give the right to anyone other than white women to vote.
Very true.
And Lavinia spent a lot of time working right in Henry Street, and she learned about sympathizing with other populations.
Yeah, she didn't just talk the talk, she walked the walk. Those are her friends, those are people she worked for and with. The line in the song when it says "nurses have no enemies" was her response to many in her profession, which she essentially created, many in her profession telling her that she should only, work with Americans in need in wartime situations. And her response was flatly, "Nurses have no enemies. I will serve anyone who needs help." And there's a lot to learn from Lavinia, for sure.
Great. We have a couple more questions. Who are the other women that will be part of the program coming up? So we've got these 4. We've got a really nice mix of well-known and not well-known women. I'm going to pull up my list here just because I'm going to forget somebody. This is the nice thing about virtual. Okay, so we have Lisa Ben, who was the first gay publisher. She started publishing the magazine Vice Versa for the gay population in 1947. Kristen Bell, because of her advocacy. First, she's a humanist, so she does a lot of charity work, but she also went through a period of depression after having her children, and really felt bad because she's a peppy, happy personality, and she had to sort of hide what she was going through, and so there is a song about that. Jane Hattishell, who is a maybe not super well known by name, but you've definitely seen her on things. And she won a Tony a few years ago. And our writer and performer for that, Amy Welk, actually knew her back in the 70s and worked with her. And Jane encouraged Amy to go against types, follow your dreams, don't worry about conforming, be who you are, the way that you perform. And then Michelle Obama, which I was really excited when we got Michelle Obama. She's not coming that I know of, but we could get her and put her in the show. And it's the moment when her teachers tell her, when she's still a teenager, and her teachers tell her not to set her sights so high as to go to Princeton. Viola Davis, who is obviously a phenomenal performer, actress, multi-awards, but also she has dedicated a lot of her life to many different movements, to world hunger, to Black Lives Matter. And so that was really important to the actors playing her. Ruth Bader Ginsburg needs no explanation. And we actually added her to the lineup. We only had 10. And after she died in September, I kind of thought, well, that would be a person who would be really good to pay some tribute to. And then Sarah McBride, who is an activist for trans youth. She is also on the ticket, and hopefully by the time you see our full production, she will be the first trans congressperson ever. And she's only 30. So she's an incredible person to definitely look up. So those are the rest of them, and they're going to be great. The songs are they're really varied, all the musical styles, the composers. It's actually a lot of up tempos, which kind of surprised me. I was really happy about that. Really testifies to the strength of these women. Okay, another question. For the composers, what were you thinking about when choosing a musical style for your song? So Allison and Lily, do you want to talk about that a little? Yeah.
Well, we both originally started with a different moment. So the assignment was more or less to come up with a moment for these women to be portraying in the songs. And initially we had right before Amelia Earhart took off for that last known flight before she disappeared. But we felt that was too well known. Most people pretty much knew, if anything, about Amelia Earhart. She flew a plane and then disappeared. So we brought it to a point that was like right after she had been on a plane taking notes, but not as a pilot. And she was very, very angry about that. In terms of like getting the fame that she didn't think she deserved. And so I wrote the lyrics, and I took a lot of quotes and either paraphrased them or even directly put them in, of her saying like, I felt like baggage, or just her thinking she deserved the fame only if she were actually flying planes. So that's where my part of the composing came in. Allison, if you want to talk about it as well.
Sure. So I wrote more of the piano accompaniment to sort of match the mood that I was sensing from the lyrics. So I don't think I was necessarily thinking of a particular style. I was more letting what I think the emotion of that moment for Amelia would have been guide what I played on the piano, and then developing that further as we came up with more sections of the song and sort of fleshed out the moment and what exactly Amelia would be feeling, and trying to make that as historically accurate as possible.
Right. I didn't actually know that. I was going to ask how you guys work together, but now I know. That's very cool. Yeah, it's a great song. It's quite the earworm. Let's for the performers, what kind of research did you do to prepare to play real women? Grace, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. So, the composer, Mark Wurzelbacher, I can barely pronounce his last name, sent me a bunch of links to different speeches that they based the song on when they were writing it. And there was one called Homework, where she literally said, Parliament, you need to do your homework. We did our homework. You need to do your homework. And I think that really caught everyone's ear when she said that. And so that became our song. And I really just watched her talk a lot, like for a couple hours. I watched her speak and just tried to embody how she is. She's very unique. I haven't really seen anyone talk the way that she talks. She's very calm and very straightforward and very straight to the point. And she doesn't get angry. She doesn't get anxious. And I'm a very like bubbly, loud person, and she definitely is not. So I spent a while playing on how I could best play that, because I didn't want to seem like stock still, because like that's not fun to watch. But I also really did want to capture her character. So I mostly watched her talk a lot.
Great. Elaine, you want to talk a little bit?
Sure, yeah. Amelia Earhart has a lot of information on the internet about her. She has a actual like licensing website that has a bunch of information on her.
Too. I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, it's like
are we supposed to license her? Ooh. Oh well.
I wasn't quite sure about that, but it has a lot of great information. And also, Lily provided me a document of all the quotes that were used within the song, and what she was thinking with picking those and where they came from, which was so helpful. But yeah, it was, I guess, a little bit of a challenge to try to portray Amelia in maybe a different way than how she's portrayed in other movies and TV shows that she's in, or was actresses portrayed her.
Yeah, you have a challenge either way, I think, because some of the we have some super famous names in the show, and it's hard to sort of cut through everything and find who they are at heart. And then you have some people that they're like very little is written about them. Kat Ulani, things are written about her, but she's far less known than she should be. So then trying to figure out who she was when you have no information or very little information. So it's everyone's doing a really cool job, and we have a good mix of really well-known folks and some that aren't, which I was really happy about too. It's about half and half household names and never heard of them. So does anyone else have any questions you want to pop in the chat box for us? Not seeing any. So I will just say that this event, this concert, again, we're filming it, and so it'll be professionally filmed, and you'll get to see everybody up close a little bit, and good sound quality, and that's going to air webcast. I don't know what you call it now, but that's going to be on the internet. On November 20th at 7 p.m. we'll have like a screening, but you can watch it at any time. It is pay what you can. So even if you can chip in $1, that really helps us. Arts organizations are really having to pivot. Everybody's having to pivot right now, and arts organizations especially are working really hard, and we're far from the only ones, but I know we are working really hard to keep creating and keep illustrating what's next in musical theater, which is our whole thing, our whole mission. So please look out for that concert so you can hear the rest. So you can hear all of these again, and so you can hear the rest of the awesome songs. And I want to thank our participating libraries as well for having us and showing us across your websites, and also thank our performers and also our company manager, Kristen Emery, and our sound designer, Scott Glugowski, for running things behind the scenes with this. And thank you to all of you, and thank you to everybody. So really appreciate you being here, and feel free to send this link. It'll stay up, this live broadcast, so feel free to send it to your friends if you want. And on our website, also mtmadison.com, you can get a program so you can read about all of the artists, and there's also a little audience guide so you can read. There's more links about all of the people in the show, all of the women from history. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being, and I really appreciate all of you guys for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.